Hello everyone. As in the previous lecture, we have completed the Bohr's model and the line spectrum of hydrogen atom. Now in this lecture, we will discuss about the calculation of the lines, calculation of wavelength of the lines which are seen in the line spectrum of hydrogen atom. As you have seen in the hydrogen atom, the 5 series will be obtained which is consist of the different kind of the definite lines. That is, they are having the different wavelengths. So this is for the absorption and this is for the emission. Emission will be shown by the wavy lines that we have finished in the lecture 3. Now here we will calculate the wavelength or the frequency of each of the definite line by using the Rydberg formula. Now in this Rydberg formula, we can calculate the wave number and which is a reciprocal of lambda, and that is equal to RH, 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square centimeter inverse. Now here you can easily understand that the n1 is what? N1 is the lower energy level and n2 is the higher energy level. So whenever the electron is moving from lower energy level to the higher energy level, that will be the absorption spectra, and when it will be come back to the ground level, this is called emission spectra. So you can apply this N1 and N2, that is N1 is lower energy level and N2 is high energy level in this formula, and RH value is the 109677, which is a Rydberg constant, and H is written for the hydrogen atom. Because the line spectra of the hydrogen atom is observed till today. So you can apply this. What is the wavelength of a line in a hydrogen spectrum when electron is excited from third energy level to ground level of Balmer series? Now here you can easily understand, for the Balmer series, the lower energy level is 2 because the electrons will be reaches in the second uppermost level. सेकेंड आपका जो फर्स्ट लेवल के अंदर आते हैं वो आते हैं लाइमन सीरीज में, और जो सेकेंड लेवल में ऑक्यूपाई होते हैं, सेकेंड लेवल इज द ग्राउंड लेवल फॉर द बाल्मर सीरीज. सो हियर n1 is the 2 and n2 is obviously 3. So when we apply in this formula, it will become mu bar is equal to 1 upon lambda, which is equal to 109677 1 upon n1 square means 1 upon 2 square minus 1 upon 3 square and centimeter inverse. So by calculation, by the simple calculation, you can find out the value of mu bar and you can calculate the value of lambda also. So after that, if you want to be calculate the frequency, you can apply the formula mu is equal to C by lambda. So lambda you have been calculated from here. So you can find out the frequency by using this formula, and C is the 3.0 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. But remember, here you are calculating the lambda in centimeter. So first of all, you have to convert this centimeter into meter. You can easily calculate this and then apply in this formula and calculate the value of mu. Now, the another question you can take from the NCERT book, that is, what are the frequency and wavelength? Means we have to calculate, we want to calculate the frequency and wavelength. हमें ये दो निकालने हैं. Frequency and wavelength of a photon emitted during a transition from n is equal to 5 to n is equal to 2 in the hydrogen atom. So this is the question. Means you want to be calculate the mu and lambda for the line in which is obtained by the transition of n is equal to 5 से n is equal to 2 में इलेक्ट्रॉन आपका शिफ्ट हो गया इस तरीके से. तो अगेन इट इज आप n1 is 2 and n2 is 5 because the lower is 2 and the higher is 5. So you can apply in the same formula, that is mu bar is equal to RH 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. From there you can calculate the value of lambda first and then calculate the value of frequency by applying this formula. Okay. Now if the value of, now suppose you want to be calculate the Bohr's radius. Now we will concentrate on the Bohr's radius. That Bohr's radius for the hydrogen atom. See, what is the meaning of Bohr's radius first? It is the distance between the first energy level. जैसे आपने ये न्यूक्लियस लिया and this is the first energy level, and nucleus where both the forces are counterbalanced. You know well, it is the positively charged nucleus and the electrons are revolving around the nucleus. You can easily understand there is an electrostatic force of attraction between them. Then how the atom will be get stabilized one? It will be stabilized one, that is the centripetal force will be applied. Means this electron, जो ऑर्बिट आपका यहाँ पर है, इलेक्ट्रॉन जिसमें ट्रेवल कर रहा है, सेंट्रीपिटल फोर्स भी इसके ऊपर काम करती है. सो द डिस्टेंस बिटवीन, यहाँ पर ये काउंटर बैलेंस हो जाती है दोनों फोर्सेस. ना तो फोर्स ऑफ अट्रैक्शन है इस डिस्टेंस पर और ना ही फोर्स ऑफ रिपल्शन है इस डिस्टेंस पर. तो इस डिस्टेंस को हम बोलते हैं बोहर्स रेडियस, दैट इज द R0. You can say this is the R0. So that, and this Bohr's radius will be depending upon the Z, that is the atomic number, and it is also depending upon the shell कि where the energy level is there. तो जैसे जैसे हम आगे बढ़ते जाएंगे तो डिस्टेंस तो बढ़ेगा, मीन्स बोहर्स रेडियस बढ़ रहा है. सो बोहर्स रेडियस विल डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द एटॉमिक नंबर and the Bohr's radius also depend upon the energy level कि where the energy level is present. Now you will see कि how can you calculate this Bohr's radius. It is very simple by using this formula, that is Rn is equal to 52.9 into n square divided by Z. So this is the formula for calculation of Bohr's radius and it will be calculated in picometer. In some other books you will see it will be calculated in meters. So this value will be changes, 10 to the powers change हो जाएंगी, or there will be nanometer, there may be angstrom, but we are writing here in the terms of picometer. So you can apply the formula in a very simple manner for the hydrogen atom. This Z will become equal to 1. Hydrogen atom के लिए Z is equal to 1 हो जाएगा. And because of that reason, for the hydrogen atom, the formula will become this. तो MCQ में ये question पूछा जा सकता है. तो N Z is equal to 1 हमने substitute किया, तो हाइड्रोजन के लिए ये आपका बोहर्स रेडियस का फॉर्मूला बन जाएगा. नाउ you can calculate जैसे what is the Bohr's radius in helium positive for third energy level. क्वेश्चन के अंदर ही आपको दिया हुआ है कि Bohr's radius निकालना है और हीलियम प्लस है. हीलियम प्लस या माइनस से Z पे कोई इफेक्ट नहीं आता. एंड फॉर द हीलियम यू नो वेल Z इज इक्वल टू 2. तो यहाँ पर आपका Z इज इक्वल टू 2 सब्स्टिट्यूट हो जाएगा इस क्वेश्चन में और n इज इक्वल टू 3 लग जाएगा, तो 3 का स्क्वायर हो जाएगा. और अगर 3 का स्क्वायर होकर के और Z इज इक्वल टू 2 जब आप लगा देंगे, then you can easily find out कि the value comes out to be आपका जो आपकी वैल्यू निकलेगी that will be in picometer. So this is a very simple numerical for calculation of the Bohr's radius. So these questions, this topic questions will be present in the NCERT book also. So you may do the questions from there again. Now the next topic is the limitations of Bohr model. Now in case of limitations of Bohr model, it does not explain the line spectrum of another atom having more than one electron. You can easily understand कि हाइड्रोजन एटम में एक इलेक्ट्रॉन होता है और उसकी वजह से ही so many definite lines you are getting, means 5 series you are getting. So it is very complicated. If more than one electron is present, then so many complications will be there, so that the spectrum of the another atom having more than one electron not yet to be cleared. It does not explain the Stark effect. Now see what is the meaning of Stark effect. When we are placing, we are taking the line spectra. जो हमने line spectra लिया था अभी, जो हमने हाइड्रोजन एटम के लिए we have taken the line spectra. तो जो आपका लाइमन सीरीज, बाल्मर सीरीज और पेस्चन और ब्रैकेट एंड प्यूफन सीरीज बनी थी, अगर उसको हम रख देते हैं इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड में, अगर हमने इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड में उन लाइंस को रखा, डेफिनेट लाइंस जो हमें मिली हैं, तो अगर उनको हम रखते हैं तो अगेन देयर इज ए स्प्लिटिंग ऑफ लाइंस. एक लाइन बहुत सारी लाइंस के अंदर स्प्लिट कर जाएंगी और इस तरीके से बड़ा ही कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सा आपका बन जाएगा जो आपका स्पेक्ट्रम होगा. So why it happens? It was not explained by the Bohr model. Now the another limitations of the Bohr model is it does not explain the Zeeman effect. सेम लाइन स्पेक्ट्रा को लाइमन सीरीज, बाल्मर सीरीज, सब सीरीज में जो वेरियस लाइंस हैं, अगर हमने इनको मैग्नेटिक फील्ड में रख दिया, मतलब हमने मैग्नेट्स के बीच में रख दिया, तो भी इसके अंदर स्प्लिटिंग हो जाएगी क्योंकि इंटरेक्शन होगा. यहाँ पर भी इंटरेक्शन हुआ है. तो इट वाज नॉट एक्सप्लेन्ड बाय द Bohr's model. So Stark effect is related to the electric field and Zeeman effect is related to the magnetic field. Now the another one is it enabled to explain why the atoms combine to form molecule by the chemical bond. All of you know well कि एटम्स आर कंबाइंड टुगेदर टू फॉर्म अ बॉन्ड। तो क्यों होता है ऐसा? अनेबल्स टू फॉर्म, कंबाइंड टू फॉर्म द मॉलिक्यूल, क्यों बनाते हैं केमिकल बॉन्ड? तो इसके लिए आप चैप्टर 4 के अंदर पढ़ेंगे कि व्हाई द एटम्स कंबाइंड टू फॉर्म द मॉलिक्यूल, कि हाइड्रोजन हाइड्रोजन की फॉर्म में प्रेजेंट क्यों नहीं है, वो H2 की फॉर्म में क्यों प्रेजेंट है। सो इट वाज नॉट एक्सप्लेन्ड बाय द बोहर मॉडल कि हाउ डज इट हैपन, but explained in the chapter 4. We will explain according to the so many theories are there, that is the BBT theory, that will be the molecular orbital theory, जिसके अंदर हम एक्सप्लेन हम देखेंगे कि केमिकल बॉन्ड क्यों बनता है। अगला है आपका कि डज नॉट एक्सप्लेन द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द मॉलिक्यूल। स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द मॉलिक्यूल का मतलब है जैसे कि अगर आपने कोई भी, जैसे अगर आपने H2O मॉलिक्यूल लिया तो H2O मॉलिक्यूल का स्ट्रक्चर ये भी हो सकता है, H2O मॉलिक्यूल का स्ट्रक्चर ये भी हो सकता है, बट इन दोनों में से कौन सा स्ट्रक्चर है जो H2O मॉलिक्यूल का है, दैट वाज नॉट आल्सो एक्सप्लेन्ड बाय द बोहर मॉडल ऑफ एन एटम। बोहर मॉडल आल्सो नॉट एक्सप्लेन the formation of the complexes by the xenon. You know well, the xenon is a noble gas. ये noble gas है, and the outermost shell is completely filled. They neither gain the electron or not lose the electron. But xenon is the only noble gas which can form the complexes like XeO3, XeOF4, XeF6, XeF4, XeF2. These kind of the complexes are formed by the xenon. So why these complexes are formed? Yet the xenon has the completely filled orbital. So why the formation of complexes will take place? It was not explained by the Bohr model of an atom. Now we will discuss about the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Now, according to this principle, it is impossible to determine the exact position and exact velocity of a small moving particle like an electron simultaneously. Means you know well, when the microscopic particles are there like electron, since the electron is revolving around the nucleus in a closed circular path, definite circular path. So when there is an interaction with the light, when the light will be falls on the electron, the position of the electron is continuously changing. Electron की position change हो रही है, and when it will interact with the light, so there may be the change in the position also. So location, exact location, इस location के ऊपर हम इसकी energy, जैसे ही हम energy निकालेंगे, the position will be changes, so that it is impossible to determine the exact position and exact velocity of a small moving particle. Means it is applicable for the microscopic particle, not macroscopic particle. Like de Broglie relation, it was also signified for the microscopic particles only, and simultaneously means usi position pe velocity nikalna. It is very difficult. So whenever we are calculating the position, the velocity will be changes. When we are calculating the velocity, the position will be changes. So there is a diversion in the position and there is a change in the velocity will be takes place, so that it is not possible to calculate the exact velocity and exact position of a small moving particle like the mathematical expression for the Heisenberg uncertainty principle is delta x into m delta v is greater than equal to h upon 4 pi. Now where delta x is the uncertainty in the position, m is the mass in kilogram, and delta v is the uncertainty in velocity. So the question may be asked, is it applicable for the daily life? You will write no, it is not applicable for the daily life, because in daily life we come across the microscopic particles, and you can easily understand that uncertainty is inversely proportional to mass. So when the uncertainty is inversely proportional to mass, and mass will be in kg, and when it is increases, so the uncertainty comes out to be very, very small, and it is not possible to calculate the uncertainty with such of accuracy 0.0000, means h is the Planck's constant here. So you know well the value of h is this, so that -30 वोल्ट तो वो पहले से ही है, और अगर आप मास को और इंक्रीज कर देंगे तो ये वैल्यू और डिक्रीज हो जाएगी, तो ये अनसर्टेनिटी नहीं निकल पाएगी, एंड दिस इज कॉल्ड द प्रोडक्ट ऑफ अनसर्टेनिटी. तो लॉट्स ऑफ क्वेश्चन कैन बी आस्क्ड फ्रॉम दिस टॉपिक कि what are uncertain in the uncertainty principle. तो uncertain is position and velocity. Product of uncertainty is delta x into delta v, and it is not applicable for the macroscopic particles. it has no significance in the daily life. Depending upon this formula, you can do the questions also, like calculate the uncertainty in locating the position of a golf ball having the mass 500 grams. So first of all, we have to convert this into grams into kilogram by dividing, that is 500 divided by 1000. So आपको मिल जाएगा 0.5 किलोग्राम. मूविंग विद द वेलोसिटी ऑफ दिस, ये वेलोसिटी से वो मूव कर रहा है और h आपको वैल्यू दी हुई है. यू हैव टू फाइंड आउट द डेल्टा x आपको निकालना है. So you can apply in the formula and can be calculated very easily. So that is the Heisenberg uncertainty principle.